Good morning, everyone. I think it's still morning. Oh, I can't see the time. I'm going to start out with this one first. Again, Dark to Light by Melinda Vogel. It's a itty bitty little book with paintings of her, drawings of hers in it, and then a little something as a inspiration. And it's a book she made to how sweet. I asked her, could you send me one? It's available on Amazon. Daniela, thanks for believing in me. Melinda Vogel. Oh, it goes right after her. She believes in healing. Yeah. People have gone through horrific traumas, this and that. It's good when you have people out there believing in you, even when you can hardly believe in yourself, when you're going through something really, really horrific. Just about breaks your spirit. May have broken you physically, and just about it's breaking your spirit. It's a beautiful little book to help heal. So, here is the picture. Look at this. It's a beautiful day, sunny day here. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, it's just, oof, love how she brings feelings and purpose on a page with colors. Get out in the grass, barefoot, breathe out and in. Settle down, listen, learn, heal your heart. Ask your questions. Do your best. The rest will follow. That reminds me of something. This is short, beautiful, yes, easy to understand as well. I love walking barefoot. I know I was as much as I dress up to go to the barn, this and that, I'm often barefoot in my shoes. Lest my feet get cold. Then I have the handmade knit socks, wool socks, other socks that my mom made. Yeah, I have lots of them. I treasure them. I wear them, but very gently. She made lots of socks. Nothing better than to have your mom's homemade socks on your feet. Yes, I made them for all of my children too. Anywho. But I love walking barefoot because you really feel the earth under your feet. Oh, which reminds me of this song. Feel under my feet. Okay, all right. I'm not very good at retaining lyrics in my mind, right? Unless all of my children. They didn't get that from me. But the other thing is ask your questions. I think sometimes we're afraid to ask the questions. Because when we do that, we have to accept the answers. I found many times in my life when I ask God questions, right? And the way I ask isn't necessarily all, oh, Father in heaven, could you answer? It's usually, I'm not getting this. This is really something. Come on now. I'd like to have an answer to this. Every time. Are you sure you want to have the answer to that? And I'm going, well, yeah. Are you aware of the consequences as well? Okay, just tell me. And every time, it would be something where it isn't just about getting an answer that pleases me. More often than not, it is something where I have to acknowledge, I see my own responsibility in all this. Even if I don't quite understand it, I do. And I have to accept the answer. Right? Yes? Yeah. Well, how do you know you're just not answering yourself? Well, all I can tell you is we're kind of, I'd say, most everyone, when we answer ourselves, we're going to answer in the way what we want to hear. Right? But believe it or not, you can have that give and take with God where you will get an honest answer. An answer that then makes it possible for you to either accept what has happened, is happening in your life, might still happen in your life, and either just accept it or you suddenly realize, but I can do something about this, right? On the side of goodness. Just saying. Yes? A life of faith, a life of belief, acknowledging God's presence. It's a wonderful thing. It's never been a bad thing in my life. So, right? But then that's me. I have no one else out there except for me. All right. Bible reading. Where are we at? Genesis 19. The destruction of Sodom. When the two angels reached Sodom in the evening, Lot was sitting at the gate of Sodom. As soon as Lot saw them, he stood up to greet them and bowed to the ground. "My lords," he said, "please come down to your servant's house to stay the night and wash your feet. Then you can make an early start on your journey." Oh, interesting. How did Lot know they were really important? And he was trying to get rid of them awfully fast. That's what I'm getting. "No," they said, "we shall spend the night in the square." But he pressed them so much that they went home with him and entered his house. He prepared a meal for them, baking unleavened bread, and they had supper. They had not gone to bed when the house was surrounded by the townspeople, the men of Sodom, both young and old, all the people without exception. Calling out to Lot, they said, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Send them out to us so that we can have intercourse with them." Lot came out to them at the door, and having shut the door behind him, said, "Please, brothers, do not be wicked. Look, I have 2 daughters who are virgins. I'm ready to send them out to you for you to treat as you please, but do nothing to these men, since they are now under the protection of my roof." But they retorted, "Stand back. This fellow came here as a foreigner, and now he wants to play the judge. Now we shall treat you worse than them." Then they forced Lot back and moved forward to break down the door. But the men reached out, pulled Lot back into the house with them, and shut the door. And they dazzled those who were at the door of the house, one and all, with a blinding light, so that they could not find the doorway. Wow, this is interesting. What was going on in that town? Like, are you guys hearing this? I don't think it needs a whole lot of explanation, except for what and how did they know even, again, how did they know that these guys were there as what, something special, or oh, they came to judge them, and what do they have to hide? And Lot, in his desperation, is willing to throw his 2 daughters, who are virgins, out to these men to do with whatever. Oh my gosh. Okay. How bad was it, actually? How bad does a town, a city, part of a city have to be, right, where you're willing to throw your own family out into chaos to protect who? The men that came to visit, who to begin with didn't want to go to Lot's house. Oh, whoa. Okay. Why would Lot stay there in a place like that? Why would he? What was he willing to do with his own daughters? How much of a part was he himself? This reminds me of something, right, where, again, how bad is it in some places all around the world? How bad is it in some places in our own country where one is so controlled by wickedness, by sin, and not willing to leave? Not willing to leave. One has to ask oneself, why is that? But here is the protection, right? They got dazzled. These men of angels of God, or spirits of God, most likely angels, messengers. I'm telling you what, don't go there, go up my leg or something. It's warm here. So again, it's like some of the bugs are still up and around and doing the thing, and this isn't the time you want to make them mad. Right? Right? Imminent death is upon them with winter coming, and it makes them all antsy and kind of, we also, I don't see them right now, but we had the ladybugs. So there's one. The ladybugs are moving in, cruising through, and it's just one of those things. Well, okay, I got the door open. Probably a whole bunch of them in the house by now. Yeah, they're just moving through. I'm not worried about them. Well, anywho, so this is very interesting. It's yep. Whatever happened at that time. The men said to Lot, "Have you anyone else here? Your sons, your daughters, and all your people in the city? Take them away, for we are about to destroy this place. Since the outcry to Yahweh against those in it has grown so loud that Yahweh has sent us to destroy it." So Lot went off and spoke to his future son-in-laws. Future son-in-laws. Oh yeah, the girls weren't married yet. Who were to marry his daughters. Oh, but he was willing to throw them out to the wolves, too. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Ooh. Ah. What is this? On your feet, he said. Leave this place, for Yahweh is about to destroy the city. But his sons-in-laws thought he was joking. Oh. Yeah, I hear that a lot, too. When dawn broke, the angels urged Lot on. To your feet, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or you will be swept away in the punishment of the city. And as he hesitated, the men seized his hand and the hands of his wife and his 2 daughters, Yahweh being merciful to him, and led him out and left him outside the city. He wouldn't go, even though he had the warning, look, something's going to happen. Okay. I wonder, the supposedly, I mean, who knows what exactly happened there, a volcano erupted, right? Okay, so that spews stuff and this, that, I don't know. And so were there already people at the time somehow, who studied certain things, around them? Were they all just shepherds and warriors and, you know, uh, stuff like that? Or were there already some people who somehow, right, yeah, through the grace of God, again, yeah, had a were able to perceive certain things in their surroundings that they're going, something's going to happen. There may have been a series of earthquakes, right, due to the rumbling of the volcano or something, and they wanted to, they had just had the give and take with Abraham, right? Go save my nephew. Well, anyway, I don't know. It's an interesting one. But still, he didn't want to leave. That's like, he goes to his son-in-law's and they're going, there's nothing going to happen. Anyway, yeah, and they wanted to save Lot. Again, probably for the sake of Abraham, right? What was the forerunner of that in 18? Say, okay, if we find 10 people, good people, they're going to want to leave. Right? Couldn't find anyone. Even Lot didn't want to go. Not even Lot. So basically, there wasn't one, not one, that put their trust, right, in God. Said, you need to leave this place if you want to survive. You just have to. Well, I don't know. Why would you build a city at the foot of a volcano? Well, again, ignorance. Oh, all right then. So they were out of the city. When they had brought him outside, he was told, flee for your life. Do not look behind you or stop anywhere on the plain. Flee to the hills or you will be swept away. Oh. That makes sense with a volcano being swept away. And don't lose a second of running. Do not lose a second, right? Oh no, my lord, Lot said to them, you have already been very good to your servant and shown me even greater love by saving my life. But I cannot flee to the hills, or disaster will overtake me and I shall die. What the heck's that all about? It's just still, yeah, just still resisting. Still, it's like, well, there's got to be one more excuse I got for not doing what you want me to do. That town over there is near enough to flee to and is small. Oh, let me flee there. After all, it is only a small place, and so survive. He replied, I grant you this favor too, and will not overthrow the town you speak of. Hurry, flee to that one, for I cannot do anything until you reach it. That is why the town is named Zoar. The sun rose over the horizon just as Lot was entering Zoar. God's always willing. Okay, all right. God seems to be always willing to say, all right, okay, you're willing to do this, then I'm going to make sure that's going to be safe. Right? Isn't it amazing? As people, we just don't seem to be able to ever just follow God's guidance, right? We need to have something to say, yeah, but how about I just do this much, right? That would be much better. And that's a small place. That will be fine, won't it? All right, I'll fix it so that it'll be fine. Right? Just so you are safe. Huh? Yes. I've found many times that just the littlest bit of right give and take God is really happy and excited about and receives it. We're given so much and are willing so little to receive it well. It's an interesting. Hmm. The sun rose over the horizon just as Lot was entering Zoar. Then Yahweh rained down on Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire of his own sending. He overthrew those cities and the whole plain, with all the people living in the cities and everything that grew there. Yeah, I don't think that was of God's doing. It's just something that happened in nature. Yeah, but of course, I could see at that time when things like that would happen, it was the wrath of God or it was the word of a dude. God doesn't work like that. God would never kill his own children, no matter how wicked and bad and evil and sinful they are. It's not going to happen. But he can't help it if you're in the way of a natural disaster and you won't listen. Right? Right? So, but at the time, as I said, bad things will happen. How many times do we see that on Facebook or anywhere? Oh, if you don't, then, I look at that, I'm going, but people saying, I'm going, no, God doesn't work that way. But I listen to God. I try to live a good, faithful life. Believe without hesitation or excuses. I try my best every day. Anyway. He overthrew those cities and the whole plain with all the people living in the cities and everything that grew there. But Lot's wife looked back and was turned into a pillar of salt. Next morning, Abraham hurried to the place where he had stood before Yahweh. And looking toward Sodom and Gomorrah and the whole area of the plain, he saw the smoke rising from the ground like smoke from a furnace. Thus it was that, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he did not forget Abraham, and he rescued Lot from the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities where Lot was living. That's a weird one with the wife. And again, I'm thinking more that there just wasn't time to stop, and you had to keep moving. And if you stopped and looked back, it's one of those things. I think it's more when you know I've got to get out of this. I need to move on. I need to move on with a force that's stronger than anything else, right? And not fall back. Never fall back. I think that's more here. Yeah? Don't look back. Just keep moving forward. Right? Restore. Right? That's how you, in a way, right? Look back, but you don't. Right? The regret, maybe, of Lot's wife that, hey, our house, or this, or that, not realizing, but there wasn't really anything other good there. It wasn't the life we should be living. Right? And keep supporting that sinful, filthy type of life that these people obviously were living there, right? And it's sad to see a mother of two girls that the father, her husband, was willing to throw to the wolves, that she wouldn't be right in front dragging the girls with her and say, no, we got to get out of here. Right? Yes, that's kind of how I see it. It's how it comes across to me. And how much of all this really, though? Okay, what really happened there? And how did that happen? Well, how is that meant? How much of that is really happening among people out there in the world right now? Thus it was that, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he did not forget Abraham, okay, and all that. The origin of the Moabites and the Ammonites. Moabites. Moabites. Oh, Moabites. Ah, that reminds me of Moab. You guys remember the... Oh my gosh, I watched that. Oh, a zillion years ago. Dune. Dune. Ooh, that was a nasty dude in there. Ugh, oh, so gross. Moab. Moab. Oh, you wonder if they get some of this stuff out of the Bible, some of the writing of sci-fi. It sounds like it. Moabites and the Ammonites. After leaving Zoar, Lot settled in a hill country with his 2 daughters, for he dared not stay at Zoar. Oh, but I thought he was. I wonder why he left after that again. He lived in a cave, he and his 2 daughters. The elder said to the younger, "Our father is an old man, and there is no one here to marry us in the normal way of the world. Come on, let us ply our father with wine and sleep with him." Oh, holy cannoli. What? The beginning of incest? Oh, I did not just read that. I knew this story already ahead of time. I knew it was coming. In this way, we can preserve the race of our father. That night they made their father drunk, and the elder slept with her father, though he was unaware of her coming to bed or of her leaving. You know, I wonder how that works. I'm not a guy, okay? But if you're that drunk, is that even possible? Okay, all right, then y'all don't think too far, because it's gross all around. Not right all around. But, so the 2 girls, afraid that, I don't know. That's an odd one. I don't know. I don't know on what. Again, it's all in Genesis. Everything, how everything starts. Right? The father. Okay. Men really, are men really that weak? I guess I don't know. Does it actually? Okay. All right. Then people don't like to talk about certain things because it's kind of, kind of private. Or this or that, right? Yeah. It's that, besides incest, if their father was drunk, right there already, right? That's even one more negative for a child to be conceived, right? And that would explain some things maybe even today's lineages and stuff. Okay, I've been yellow, I know. The next day, the elder said to the younger, "Last night I was the one who slept with our father. Let us make him drunk again tonight, and you go and sleep with him. In this way we can preserve the race by our father." They made their father drunk that night too, and the younger went and slept with him, though he was unaware of her coming to bed or of her leaving. Both Lot's daughters thus became pregnant by their father. The elder gave birth to a son whom she named Moab, and he is the ancestor of the Moabites of our own times. The younger also gave birth to a son whom she named Ben-Ami, and he is the ancestor of the Bene Ammon of our times, of our own times. Okay, weird one. But that's the end of 19. So that's kind of it. We're just getting. You wonder, so there's stories of all the different tribes and I don't know what around the world, right? Is it really that people just can't think for themselves? Also, at that time, no doubt, right? Incest wasn't okay. Is this the right thing to do? Is this a good? Was it known at the time and what that can do to a child? These girls were so desperate. These daughters. And it's in the Bible, right? And it seems like it's just a story. It's the next part of, okay, this is how the Moabites and the Ammonites came to in existence. Two tribes, right, of incest. So does that give some people out there then who are very much into the Bible, is that an excuse for incest? Well, in the whole, that little passage there, it says nothing about God. That God in any way was involved in any of that. So even though Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed, sin found its way out and wasn't all taken care of due to the plea of Abraham. Right? That's interesting. With the story too, is it that men in some ways have lost their strength already at that time, thousands and thousands of years ago? Right? With the Moabites and the Ammonites, did something start among men where they have lost their strength when it comes to their own manhood to know what they're doing? Lot didn't know what he was doing. He had no idea. Like, I'm sure eventually, how come you girls are pregnant? What happened? Right? It doesn't say anything about that, at least not yet. Right? I don't know. But when I consider what I talked about in the barn this morning, right, on when it comes to abortion issues, and that men play a big part in all that too. Have men lost their strength when it comes to their own manhood and know how to know when to exercise in that particular area? And how many thousands of years has that been going on? Interesting. Yeah. That brings back to mind then the little passage that I read from Melinda's little book. Got to find back to our original self and know what is right and wrong when it comes to many different areas, especially the principles of true love. Well, it's just a question, right? Yes. Yeah. I bet we have a few strong men out there, right, when it comes to that area who I made that video to respect my body. I think it's the same for men to respect their body. Yes, and we should never let anything like that happen to them. How degrading that is to their self, right? Yes. So, well, I think we got a good example on how it goes both ways. That no, as a woman, you don't just get to decide that it is your body when you've done something beforehand where you were out of control. Now you want control over your body. And for men, it's the same thing. The excuses don't stand. Oh, I wasn't in control. I was drunk. And then just use that as an excuse to not be a true man. Yes? I'm just putting suggestions out there. I'm not saying, I'm not accusing anyone. Not accusing, just wondering. And, well, anywho. So there it is. Well, another disturbing part. Destructions of cities and human life, which we're quite well acquainted with, and then, the illicit relationships that a father has with his daughters because he's not in control over his own body. Yes? Yeah. Well, anyway, so there it is. But I guess it needs to be said, needs to be addressed. God addressed it. We're still addressing it, still not listening. Oh! Needing excuses. Well, in the meantime, we're well acquainted with complaining about our childhoods, this and that, not realizing that we're not willing to change anything, get better at doing the right thing, this and that, so that other children can have a good childhood. Right? Yes? Yeah. There's many children have a good childhood out there. They grow old, they complain about it anyway. All right, well, that's all I have to say today on our little Bible reading. God's love and blessing always. God protect you out there. And I will talk to you another time.